True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Mainit at makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa sports, kumpleto yan dito sa Power and Play. Mula sa mga paborito at naglalakihang atleta hanggang sa mga natatanging Pinoy sports figures na dapat nyong makilala, ihahatid yan dito sa Power and Play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko, para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at huwag magpatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Amiga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing natin katropa sa kapwa ko Pilipino. Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy.
The sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. I'll take you to a place we can see it all. Step off the edge, I can break your fall. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. When you fall down, I'll get you back up again. The things you try are things that you won't regret. We are kings of the world, and tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world, and anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world, and tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world, and anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world.
Yan pong mga eksenang yan ang inyo pong makikita at matatanaw kung kayo po'y pupunta dito sa aking kinaroroonan ngayong umaga pong ito. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat mga kaibigan. Ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum, Cherry Tigo, it's fun to drive, Chooks to go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan, True Religion, where passion meets power, and of course, we are powered by Smart. At ngayong araw pong ito, kami nagmumula live mula sa Asea Beach Resort dito po sa Subic Bay. At sa likod ko po nga ang Mount Cinco Picos. At of course, nakikita nyo ang infinity pool po dito sa Asea. Napakagandang umaga, hangin, napakalinis, and of course, ang pagtanggap po muli ng staff ng ASEA para sa Power and Play ay napakainit. Again, nagpapasalamat po kami kay Boss Romel, Sitin, and of course kay Ma'am Ada, at sa lahat ng staff, si Dayan, si Melissa, lahat po ng nasa front desk na sa kanila pong pag-accommodate muli sa Power and Play. Bagong umaga, well, pag-uusapan po natin, bago rin, mga bagong record, bagong pag-asa at bagong salta. Yan po ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong umagang ito, kung saan mamaya po ang ating makakapanayam ang unang-unang mama na nakawasak o nakasali dun sa 6-meter club ng pole vault. Walang iba kundi si Mr. 6-meter man, EJ Obiena, the third-ranked pole vaulter in the world. Mamaya din po ating makakapanayam si Sean Gibbons tungkol sa mga nangyayari sa Philippine boxing at mga bagong pag-asa ng Philippine boxing. In fact, mamaya po ay magkakaroon ng laban ang dati nating kampiyon na si Jerwin Angcahas dyan po sa Minneapolis, Minnesota. At doon din po mamaya ay naroroon si Homer Sison na ating pong makakapanayam patungkol sa laban na yan at sa iba pang mga sports issues. Mamaya rin po sa ating second hour, bago namang salta. Bago pong salta sa Premier Volleyball League, ang koponan ng Photon Tornadoes, sister team ng Cherry Tigo, ang ating pong makakasama sa second hour para malaman ang kanilang mga plano sa Invitational Conference. Kaya po mga kapatid, wag na magpatumpik-tumpik. Tutok lamang, bango na, power and play na at simulan na po natin sa pamamagitan ng ating Sports Weekly Highlights.
Power and Play with Com Noli Iyala.
Palapit na ng palapit si Kai Soto sa inaasam niyang NBA Dream. Kinuha ng Orlando Magic si Soto para sa NBA Summer League na gaganapin sa July 7 to 17. Kinumpirma na yan ng mabuti ng ating kaibigan na si Homer Sison. Sinulat po niya yan at kinumpirma din ng ating kaibigan na si Kinito Henson. Mamaya po, more on Kai Soto. Good luck, Kai. And sana nga matamo mo na ang iyong minimithi. Kaya ang tanong ngayon, makakatapat kaya ni Kai Soto ang mga rookies sa katatapos lang na NBA draft? Sa hindi nakakagulat na resulta, top pick ang French player na si Victor Wembanyama. Nakakuha na naman ng generational big man ang San Antonio Spurs na inaasahang bagong halige ng celebrated franchise. Number 2 naman si Brandon Miller na napunta sa Charlotte Hornets at napunta sa third spot si Scoot Henderson para sa Portland Trail Blazers. Sa ibang hoops update, all systems go na ang Gilas Pilipinas sa kanilang European training. 12 sa Gilas Pool ang lumipad patungo sa Estonia sa pangunguna ni Scotty Thompson. Susunod naman sa camp sina Justin Brownlee at si Ange Kwame. May mga makakalaban ng Gilas mula sa Estonia, Lithuania at Finland bilang paghanda sa FIBA World Cup. Sa Gilas Women's naman, puspusa na paghanda ng national team para sa FIBA Asia Women's Cup. All out ang preparasyon ng squad ni Coach Pat Aquino sa Australia. Kasama na nila ang rest back na si Vanessa De Jesus ng Duke Blue Devils. Inaasahang magiging malaking boost ng NCAA caliber player sa national team. Matindi-tindi ang hamon sa national team lalo't kagrupo nila ang Australia, Japan at Chinese Taipei. Sa PBA, pinag-uusapan ng rest back, may matinding rest back ang Converge na makakatulong sa paghahanda nila para sa PBA Season 48. Si Los Angeles Lakers assistant coach Phil Handy lang naman ang tutulong kay Coach Al Dinayo na magte-train ngayong off-season sa koponan ng FiberXers. Bukod sa kanya, may isa pang foreigner coach ang mag-ahasa pa daw sa FiberXers. Patunay lang ito na talagang seryosong maging contender ang Converge sa darating na season. At balita sa volleyball, turning pro si Adamson Lady Falcon Trisha Tubo. Lalaro para sa bagong PBL team na Farm Fresh Foxies, ang UAAP Season 85 Super Rookie. Reunited sila dyan ni Coach Jerry Yee. Ayon kay Tubo, nagdesisyon siyang hindi na ituloy ang collegiate playing years at mag-pro para sa kanyang ama na ilang beses nang na-stroke. May nakaabang namang title shot para kay Pinoy boxer Jerwin Angcahas. Pero bago yan, kailangan muna niyang talunin ang Colombian fighter na si Wilner Soto ngayong pong araw na ito. Undercard ng bantamweight bout para sa bakbakang Fernando Martinez at Jade Bornea. Naku, si Jade, sana mga po ay manalo din ha. Ayon kay Sean Gibbons, planong itapat si Angcahas kay Takuma Inoue para sa WBA belt ngayong taong kung malalampasan niya si Soto. At yan po ang buod ng mga balita sa ating sports weekly highlights. Ako napakaganda pong balita. Unang-una, of course, ang patungkol po kay Kai Soto na sabi nga natin, kahapon lamang na-confirm yan. Siya po ay maglalaro na para sa Orlando Magic sa NBA Summer League. Now, iba po yung NBA Summer League. Diyan po, yung mga gustong subukan ng mga koponan ang ipinapasok, pati na po yung mga na-draft nila dyan, lalong-lalo na yung mga nasa baba, hindi po yung mga top picks. Although magpapakitang gilas pa rin naman yung mga top picks na yan sa NBA. Kaya po yung tungtong ni Kai Soto doon ay napaka-monumental at napaka-critical po yan sa kanyang pangarap para makapasok sa isang regular lineup sa NBA. Diyan po siya masusukat dahil ang makakatapat niya ay mga NBA caliber draftees under the NBA situation and of course sa harap po ng mga coaches at ng mga scouts. Kaya po maganda ring malaman yung mga makakalaban niya. Kaya yan din po ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong araw pong ito. Sa katatapos lamang na nangyari na NBA draft, ito po ang ating topic sa Pulso ng Bayan. Hatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Ito po ang ating katanungan. Napakasimple lamang po lalong-lalo doon sa mga nanood ng NBA draft o di kaya nagbasa. Sino ang winners and losers ng 2023 NBA draft? Ulitin ko po yan napakadali lamang. Sino po sa tingin nyo mga nagtagumpay at sino naman ang mga nabigo doon po sa 2023 NBA draft. Mamaya po, kami pong babasa ng mga random notes po patungkol po, random comments patungkol po dyan sa ating pinupulsuhan. Alright, bago tayo magpatuloy, syempre, tuloy-tuloy po ang pamimigay ng Joyride Super App ng kanilang 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits dito po sa Power and Play. Napakasimple lamang po I-download ang latest version ng Joyride Super App. Nakikita nyo yung QR code. Pwede nyo pong iscan yan. Kuhanan po ng screenshot yung app's home screen. Andun po dapat ang inyong pangalan. At ipadala yung screenshot sa Power and Play FB page via private message. Isama nyo po yung buong yung pangalan at yung inyong pong registered mobile number sa Joyride account. At kayo po ay mananalo. Pwedeng manalo. Kami po pipili ng 5 mananalo ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits na amin pong i-anunsyo at the end of the show. Yan pong credits na yan ay inyong magagamit sa Joyride car, Joyride delivery, and of course sa motorcycle taxi. Alright mga kapatid, nagmamadali tayo ngayong araw po ito sapagkat syempre ang dami nating gustong pag-usapan lalong-lalo na sa napakagandang araw na ito. At again, kami po ay nagmumula sa Saya Beach Resort dito po sa Subic. Again, sa likod po natin ang Mount Cinco Picos na napakaganda, napakakalma din po ng Subic Bay. And we are just about ready to proceed with our first segment, ang inyong paborito, Fast Take.
Power and Play with Com Noli Iyala.
At ang Fast Take ay hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Tigo, it's fun to drive. At ngayong araw pong ito, espesyal ang Fast Take sapagkat isa lamang ang ating makakasama at siya rin po ay magre-report muna live mula dyan sa Minneapolis, Minnesota, ang ating kaibigan, spin columnist, walang iba kundi si Homer Saison. Magandang araw, Homer.
Good morning, Commissioner. Napaka-busy dito sa Minneapolis, Commissioner, because Taylor Swift is here and there will be a boxing event. So punong-pulat ng mga hotel, Commissioner. In fact, when I came here yesterday at 1 in the morning, naghahanap pa kami ng hotel kasi wala nang room sa official hotel ng boxing because I came on short notice. But at 1:17 in the morning, puyat na ako,
Wow.
Commissioner, pagod na ako, finally got a room. I got a text message, Kai Soto to the Orlando Magic. So it made everything seem worthwhile, Commissioner. It's a very good news.
Bago natin puntahan si Kai Soto, gusto ko munang kamustahin itong pinunta mo, yung pakay mo dyan sa Minneapolis. Of course, yung fight ni Jerwin Angkas against Wilner Soto. Unang-una, ano bang, have you talked to Jerwin, Homer? How is his mood? How is his condition?
He looks very good, yes. nausap ko siya kanina, Commissioner, 6 hours ago roughly, nag-weigh in, official weigh-in. And for the first time since February 2022, very happy siya in the weigh-in because he finally had escaped the prison of the bantamweight division. He had outgrown it kasi, Commissioner, kasi tumatanda na si Jerwin. And it was so hard to squeeze his body, his frame, into that 115 pound division. He's bantamweight, he easily made weight, Commissioner, unlike yung natalo siya kay Fernando Martinez, where he looked really pale and gaunt. Kanina, Commissioner, happy, the sprint in his steps. And as a matter of fact, he is heavily favored to win the fight, minus 1,000, Commissioner.
Wow.
Meaning
Wow.
to say, tataya ka ng $1,000 just to win $100 on Jerwin. The most important thing is happy siya, and in fact, after the way, yes.
Sino
Go
ba
ahead.
sino ba tong kalaban niya? Itong Colombiano na to, si Wilner Soto. Ano ba ang background dito? Ano ba to? Ito ba kumbaga pakain, palamon kay Angkas, or is this guy a legit boxer?
Well, his record suggests na hindi masyadong magaling, Commissioner, but you know, when you attach the word professional to anything, magaling yan. I mean, you know, he's out there for a reason. May gaming commission naman ng boxing to make sure that things like this do not happen. But, you know, he's 32 years old. He has 12 losses, Commissioner. So it tells you na hindi masyadong magaling. But like I said, professional din kahit paano. And in his 22 wins, 5 na napatulog. So, that's the reason why I see Jerwin. May suntok din, Commissioner. Like I said, professional yun. They do this for a living.
Baka mamaya dapat
Pero lang,
ingatan
the pedigree of Angkas.
Ingatan lang yung Angkas, yung chamba, yung lucky punch. So, okay, before I leave Angkas, what is at stake in this fight for Jerwin? Homer.
At stake, Commissioner, is a chance to have another payday, a big payday, and to fight for another championship. This time in the bantamweight division. Kasi ang champion ng WBA bantamweight division ngayon, ang title holders is Takuma Inoue, kapatid ni Monster Inoue. Yeah, so if he wins this, lalaban magcha-challenge si Jerwin Angkas, and that's gonna be a good fight, and you know, another chance for him to add another chapter in his legacy, and see how kita natin today, Commissioner, anong galaw niya, how he adjusts. Kasi in boxing, Commissioner, sometimes the 3 pounds, 4 pounds is not enough. I always remember that time in the late 80s, a undefeated fighter named Wilfredo Basucames of Puerto Rico. He was unbeaten, Commissioner. He had won 28 fights by knockout, and then he climbed to the featherweight division, which is a mere 5-6 pounds. He got knocked out by Salvador Sanchez because some fighters do not carry that weight, they don't carry their, you know, the punching power when they move up. So tomorrow makikita natin, that would be a test on whether how good Angkas would be in that division, Commissioner. But the question, the stake is another chance to win a championship.
Well, we're hoping, of course, na si Jerwin ay manalo at muling makabalik sa trono ng boxing. Again, before I leave this topic, very quickly, kamusta si Bornea? Laban kay Martinez. How is that coming along? What are the chances of our boxer?
Well, the odds are he's a plus 300 underdog, Commissioner. So, which is not surprising kasi champion si Fernando Martinez, and he's also unbeaten. And the big knock against Bornea allegedly is that you know, the US writers do not know him kasi nga yung competition, kasi most of his fights are in the Philippines, so they don't take much consideration to that. But it reminds me of John Nasulan, who was a plus 500 underdog nang tinalo niya yung Puerto Rico sa Madison Square Garden 2 years ago at the height of the pandemic. So sa kita ko kanina, he made weight easily, 150 pounds, Commissioner. He looks good. Kasi the weight is really important. Makikita mo na kung they made weight easily or did they struggle. Bornea looks good, Commissioner. And as a matter of fact, interviewin ko sana kanina. Pero kumakain Nag-read Commissioner. I like his chance.
Parang si Angkahas kumakain din, and that's good. That's a good sign. Hopefully, nasa peak sila. All right, let's go to Kai Soto. Homer, we know, binalita rin ni Kinito that Kai Soto is on his way to the NBA Summer League. Tell us about the story. Paano ba niya nakuha itong slot sa Orlando Magic?
Well, it happened quickly, Commissioner. He did not try out with the Orlando Magic.
Wow.
So that's the important qualification here. Yeah, he did not have a private workout with the Orlando Magic. The workouts with Utah, which to my understanding was good. The Dallas Mavericks, napakagaling daw. Even Mark said that the New York Knicks, we never heard from the New York Knicks. This was a surprise to me as well. So, tinanong ko si Tony Ronzoni, how did this play out? You know, sometimes agents keep their trade secrets to themselves. So, hindi natin malaman how it played out. What we know for sure now, Commissioner, is that the Orlando Magic, they release a schedule today. And the first game would be July 8th, which would be a Sunday dyan sa Pilipinas. And at 6:30 in the morning Philippine time would be around 6:30 Philippine time sa Pilipinas. Laros ang Orlando Magic versus the Detroit Pistons. So potentially, Kai Soto could play his first officially sanctioned NBA game. I think that's a very big moment for Philippine basketball.
Can you tell us a little bit?
Lalo na mga Filipino Americans doon sa Las Vegas. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about sino makakasama ni Kai Soto sa Orlando Magic lineup? Of course, we know Paolo Banchero, the #1 pick last year, was with the Magic. He probably won't be playing here because he's already a legitimate star. Pero yung mga nakuha ng Orlando, they picked up some very good names in the draft. Homer.
Yes, they did not pick up. They didn't release the roster yet, Commissioner. We don't know yet.
Wala pa. Okay.
Nung coach. Yes, wala pa. In the next few days, we will know, Commissioner.
All right. Well, good news, in fact, and of course, the Summer League will only last until July 17. Tama, Homer? So, ano ang bali-balita? When we spoke with Tony Ronzoni, he said that, of course, ang Gilas is still in the target ni Kai Soto. Can you confirm that, are you reporting that Kai will report to Gilas after the NBA Summer League?
Tight-lip ang East-West Private Commission. They don't want to divulge his plans. And to my understanding, tinanong ko si Coach Antonio of SBP if there is an active negotiation. Hindi naman din niya deny. Sabi na we've been reaching out to them for whatever that means. But it makes sense, Commissioner. After June 17, here's the thing. It's not necessarily June 17, Commissioner, because if the Orlando Magic do not make the playoff in the Summer League, they could potentially play just 5 games, which by then the season would end about July 15. So they could have sooner than that. And yun ang nakausap ko si Coach Chot, kinausap ko si Chot Reyes. Sabi niya sa akin, obviously what I saw on your roster, it doesn't hurt to have a 7'3" with experience in the international game to be in the lineup. Pero kina-qualified pa rin yan. There are two pieces. The two pieces that are important are practice and price. So is he able to practice in a way that would allow him to coalesce with his teammates na ngayon pupunta na, I think landed na in Estonia. So that's number one, practice. The other one is the price. Because if your listeners may recall, Kai did not play in the February window. It's apparently because of a disagreement with the price. So hopefully they can come to terms in those two aspects. So gray area, but I think it's the best interest of Kai to play in the World Cup. Good
and knowing
good for him.
And knowing the SBP leadership sa pangunguna ni Mr. Manny V. Pangilinan, I think he will move heaven and earth to bring Kai to Gilas for the FIBA World Cup. All right, Homer, ito fast take to, special na edition dahil ikaw lang mag-isa, kaya alam mo na ang drill dito, mabilis ang sagot, 3 tanong, you got 1 minute, and a lot of these, of course, are right down your alley. So simulan na natin sa fast take, walang tama, walang mali, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, huwag magagalit. Ang una nating issue, Homer, sa Fast Take ngayong umaga, sa pagpili kay Victor Wembanyama sa NBA draft, ano ang tingin mo na magiging floor at ceiling ng San Antonio Spurs ngayong season na ito? I'll give you 1 minute, Homer. Go!
The floor would be 22 wins, Commissioner, which was what they won last season. A team that was last in the NBA in defense, allowing 123 points per game. And then 29th in offensive rating, which was only 110.2. That will, at the very least, yun ang mapanalo nila. The ceiling is one that is very speculative. And I would say, in the history of the NBA, the most number of wins that a rookie number 1 pick has been able to give to the franchise was 36 wins. And itago na lang natin sa pangalan na Tim Duncan in 1997-98 season. Now, with Wembanyama pull the San Antonio Spurs to a 36 win plus season? I doubt it, Commissioner, because the San Antonio Spurs, hindi mananalo ng Rookie of the Year si Wembanyama. They will nurse him. And that is the reason why they have offered Greg Popovich a 3-year, $42 million deal to stay with the Spurs. Enough time for him to nurse, to curate, and to stoke to Wembanyama into a... So kahit na manalo sila ng plus 20 games, here's how bad the Spurs were. Kahit manalo sila ng 20 plus games, Commissioner, which would put them at 42-40, they would only be a play-in team. So gaano din katigas ang Western Conference?
Well, mabigat nga yung Western Conference, of course. And of course, marami pa naglipatan dyan. And there's another topic for another day. But definitely, I think, ang tama ka, the floor should be at least the minimum that they won last year. But I think their ceiling, I really think na Wemby is a generational talent. I think they should be at least a play-in team. I think there should be safely a number 8 seed going into the playoffs. All right, let's go to our second issue of the morning. Pinag-uusapan natin ang mga boksingero ng Pilipinas. Mamaya makakausap ko si Sean Gibbons to discuss the many boxers who are all over the United States. But ito ang tanong, sino sa tingin mo, Homer, ang pinakamalaking pag-asa na maging world champion ng Pilipinas sa boxing ngayong taong ito? 1 minute, Homer. Go!
Jade Bornia, only because he fights tomorrow and opportunity breeds results. So, and then he has a very good record, Commissioner. He has punching power. He fights tomorrow, like I said. So, I give him a good chance to win. Behind him, Jerwin Ancahas. Maling din si Jerwin, and because of that championship pedigree. People, kasi natalo siya 2 in a row, and people tend to convene na this guy defended the junior bantamweight title for 9 times in 5 years. The downward division yung mga maliliit, Commissioner, and to be able to sustain that excellence for many years. And then now to fight as a bantamweight, he looks really, I find it hard not to believe na hindi siya maging. And then obviously, the other fighters, you have Jonas Sultan, Astrolabio. The thing with the boxers ng Manny Pacquiao Promotions Commission, just like Soto, they have Tony Ronzoni. Manny Pacquiao Promotions has Sean Gibbons. It's important because you need that guy behind the scenes to make sure you get the ratings appropriately, to make sure you get the fights winning, and to put you in a position to win. So, Bornia, Ancahas, and then the rest of the commission.
All right. Well, those are names na napaka-interesting. Mamaya, pakinggan nyo po mga kapatid. Ang analysis din ni Sean Gibbons, almost very similar sa sinasabi ni Homer. All right, let's go to our third and final issue of the morning dito sa Fast Take. Patungkol to sa pinag-uusapan natin na si Kai Sotto. Sa likod ng balita, nalalaro na siya sa NBA Summer League. Gaano kalaki ang tsansa ni Kai Sotto na makalaro sa NBA regular season? Homer, 1 minute. Go!
Well, Commissioner, I'm not putting a numerical prediction on that. Pero ang masabi ko lang, Commissioner, is this. Mahirap pa rin because just when we think na Kai is near the finish line, we find a sobering moment. Look at the draft yesterday. Top 10. Only one is 7 feet tall. It's still guards and wings. People who can run up and down the floor, shoot 3-point shots. And then to me, the most sobering reminder was Drew Timme, 6'10", 235 pounds, the best big ever to come in the college ranks this draft, Commissioner. 5 years at Gonzaga, averaging 21 points, 10 rebounds a game. He was undrafted yesterday, Commissioner. So it's still, the bigs are still being chased out of the game. So for Kai to come, to be able to earn a roster spot in the NBA, it has to come from a team that needs a big and would, in a system that would allow him to, kahit muna minsan pinch hitter, Commissioner, just like Londale in Phoenix, giving 6-7 minutes behind DeAndre Ayton, or perhaps like DeAndre Jordan, who's pinch hitting for Jokic during the NBA Finals. But you know, you worm your way back, because this is everything. After all, this is a process. But to be part of that process, have to be a part of an NBA team. So Kai is getting closer there. How close? I don't know, Commissioner. Nobody knows. It's still up to Kai. See how he performs in the Summer League.
Yeah, I totally
Back to
agree.
you,
Alam mo, everything is still up in the air. Of course, with Kai, nakita natin ang trend. It's the new NBA, as they say. Of course, the big man is something that they want, but somebody like a Jokic, or somebody like a Porzingis, or somebody like an Embiid, who can even shoot the three. Plus, of course, the fact that nakita rin natin na hindi masyadong maraming international players. Of course, we saw Derek Lively, parang si Kai, a 7'2" player being drafted last night. But one thing going for Kai, he's very young. He's only 21, and hopefully that will work. That will have a big factor in his future. Homer, again, maraming salamat sa panahon binigay mo sa amin. Final notes from you, Homer?
Well, may pagpasalamat na ako, Commissioner. I'd like to thank my good friend, Serge Aurelio of Maida Corporation. Laging nagsusuporta, Commissioner. A very passionate fan of basketball, and pasalamatan ko siya. And then, yung kaibigan natin, Commissioner, itago lang natin sa Super J. Mahilig sa go. Mahilig din sa coating stats a weekend. So, you know who you are. And also, Commissioner, I got a phone call today. The guy was literally foaming in the mouth. Sabi niya, I had an interview yesterday, and the guy was such an amazing host. Sabi ko, Noli Iyala. So I said, I'm going to go live, and I'm going to say the same. Commissioner, Senator Iyala! Senator Noli Iyala, thank you!
Bye-bye. Salamat, Homer. Mga kaibigan, ang ating pong kaibigan, spin columnist, and of course, ang ating pong regular sa Power and Play, live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, si Homer Saison. Ako, napakaraming balita all over the world patungkol sa mga Pinoy, at patuloy po nating tututukan yan. Alright, at this point, bago tayo mag-break, isa muna pong paalala mula sa ating mga kaibigan sa Smart. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete, powered by Smart. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. The Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from Smart that lets you discover and enjoy your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Pro Prepaid, and TNT subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance, monitor your current subscription, top up using debit credit card, subscribe to the latest Giga promos, monitor your data consumption, auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network, one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart! When we return, ang ating pong makakasama, ang presidente ng MP Promotions. Walang iba kundi si Sean Gibbons. Ito po ang Power and Play. At sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go, at ng True Religion live from Asea Subic Resort dito po sa SBMA. We'll be back in just a short while.
I dare to dream big, to be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai Stories on Twitter and share yours with Smart Double Giga Stories. share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple. Smart ako.
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice na swak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
Na-miss mo ba ang game kagabi? Gusto mo bang malaman ang latest happening sa sports? Like and follow us on social media. Pwede mo nang balik-balikan ang mga paborito mong games anytime, kahit saan. At pwede mo nang i-share sa tropa. Dito lang tayo sa nag-iisang go-to tambayan ng lahat at One Sports PHL on social media.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
It's time to discover the new stars of the PBA. Magpapakitang gilas ang malalakas. Susugod na ang matitikas. Huwag palagpasin ang sagupan. Tuloy ang laro. Tuloy ang laban. Game tayo dito sa PBA On Tour. Live on One Sports at PBA Rush.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
May masolve kayang kaso?
Usog ka nga doon, huwag mo ako siksikin.
Pwede ba? Kanina pa kita nahalata. Naapiktado ka na nakadikit ka sa akin.
Isa pa,
Anong isa pa? Hahalikan mo na ako.
Isa pa, tatadyakan ko na yung mukha mo. Hindi ako maghulog sa'yo.
O may feelings na mabuo?
Ikaw pa yata mahuhulog sa akin eh.
Jack and Jill sa Diamond Hills. Tuwing linggo, 6 p.m. Tutok lang sa TV5.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Tutukan gabi-gabi ang malalimang pagsisiyasat ng mga napapanahong balita. Hihimayin ang iba't ibang anggulo para sa mas malawak na diskusyon at impormasyon. Samahan sina Ed Lingao at Mian Los Baños mula sa Frontline tonight, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 10:35 p.m. sa TV5.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Broadcasting from the Radyo 5 Studios in Reliance Street, Mandaluyong City, in Mega Manila. 25,000 watts of true broadcast quality. Mas pinalakas, mas pinalawak, mas pinalinaw na tunog ng AM sa FM. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Muli po isang magandang umaga sa inyo lahat mga kapatid. Nagmumula po tayo sa Asea Beach Resort dito po sa Subic. At again, sa likod ko po ang napakagandang tanawin dito sa Asea. Kung kayo po'y mapapagawi o di kaya ay talagang naghahanap ng lugar na magkakaroon ng pagkakataon magpahinga. Again, pumunta po kayo dito sa Asea. Napakaganda, napakalinis. Makikita nyo yung infinity pool. Ang dami po magagawa dito. May biking, meron pong mga para sa mga chikitig, yung mga playground. And of course, yung pong beach, napakalinis po dito sa Asea Beach Resort. Again, maraming salamat sa buong pamunuan, sa pangunguna, of course, ni Mr. Romel Sitin. Alright, at this point, mga kapatid, na pinag-uusapan natin kanina, ang mga laban na magaganap po ngayong taon na to. Lalong-lalo na, bukas, oras ng Amerika, lalaro po o lalaban po si Jerwin Angcahas as a one step towards another title shot. Marami pa po dyan, yung sila Mark Pagsayo. Ano pa nangyayari dyan? Sila Jonas Sultan, Marlon Tapales, si Yumir Marshall. Lahat po yan, mga kapatid, kahit papano tinutulungan o di kaya ay nasa ilalim ng isang mama, isang taong napamahal na po sa Philippine boxing. At siya rin po ang Pangulo ng MP Promotions ni Senador Manny Pacquiao. Siya po'y ating inabutan kamakailan. At ito po ang ating panayam kay Sean Gibbons. Viva Sean Gibbons is with us in the house. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us today.
Thank you, Noli. It's always great to be on again. I really enjoy being on your show because you're one of the first shows I ever did when I came to the Philippines. I can't remember the name, but Kenito Henson introduced us, and it was great from then, and it's just gotten better and better over the years. So always a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, you're somebody that not only do I respect in your work, but the way you treat Filipinos is something that we are so proud and so happy to have, a guy like you there taking care of our boxers. So let me begin with that, Sean. Lately, Philippine boxing has been on a roller coaster ride. We've lost a lot of our world titleists, and we're down to just a handful here. What do you think has happened to Philippine boxing so far, Sean?
It's real simple. When you fight the best in the world, you're going to win some, lose some. So, we had, 5 or 6 belts at one time. But again, Mark Magsayo fought the best guy in the world in Ray Vargas and then Brandon Figueroa. Jerwin Angcahas, unfortunately, we kept it to wait too long. He lost. But then you get a guy like Marlon Tapales who completely upset the apple cart by beating Akhmedov. And then Saturday, you're going to find a really, really good fight in Vincent Jade Bornea. I think he's going to become our second Filipino champion that we have this year. And to touch on a couple other guys, Vincent Astrolabia, it was his first try at a world title. Lost a very good, close split decision. And Melvin Jerusalem had some issues with his visa. So, as much as you go, you win some, lose some, win some. You're a guy that's been in basketball your whole life. You understand. I mean, you can't be perfect in everything.
Right.
The good thing is you come back and, we lose one, we win one. Maybe we win 2, lose 1. So, again, all I can say is when you fight the best of the best, it's just amazing to have this many Filipinos even attempt to win world titles. That alone, to give an instance, like for Jonas Sultan, an opponent, a guy 18 wins and 5 losses, to come to the pinnacle to fight Paul Butler, 1 fight away from fighting Inoue, the monster in Japan, and making over $1 million. I mean, that's the beauty of it. We take guys that shouldn't be. We take the guys that are in 6th place, and we work hard and we work up, and all of a sudden we're in a championship game coming out of nowhere, or we're seeded 8th. So that's what I'm most proud of, is being able to help Philippine boxers that may never. Michael Dasmariñas, here's a kid, solid kid, a lot of wins in the Philippines. I wish we wouldn't have had to fight Inoue, but again, he got a world title shot. Many guys. I could name a bunch of other guys that have had world titles.
Well, so let me ask you then, Sean. What is it among Pinoy boxers, Filipino boxers, that give you all that hope, and give you that belief that Philippine boxing will be back in a big way, maybe quickly, perhaps even this year?
What gives me that hope is starting Saturday. Jade Bornea. Now, Jade Bornea loses Saturday. My hope may go down a little, but we're never out of the game. We're always looking. We're always figuring it out. So Jade is going to set the tone. Vincent Astrolabia, even though he just lost for the WBO world title, he was able to secure a WBC world title eliminator. Carl James Martin, a lot of good upcoming guys keep me positive and excited. Carl James Martin, and a year from now, be fighting for the world title. Leonard Serikhan, amazing. KJ Katarina. So for every time we lose, there's another 3 or 4 guys in line looking for that opportunity, and I'm just happy to bring it.
Do you think that the retirement of, the so-called retirement of Manny Pacquiao, and of course the post-Pacquiao era, has affected the market for Filipino fighters?
It hasn't yet, because Manny is still there. He's still a huge presence.
Right.
He's still talking about fighting. So Manny's in every discussion. No one really believes he's retired yet, right? I mean, the senator, he wants to compete. He lost the election in a very respectful way, took a nice third place. And I believe he still feels comfortable that he can compete at, maybe not the highest level, but he can compete with a lot of guys in the world. So if opportunities come up in the Middle East, exhibitions in various parts, I think he has a lot left to give. So Manny's still very helpful in the fact that he's there, his presence is there. But there is a point in the next, say, year and a half that we're going to stand on their own, but we'll always be Manny Pacquiao Promotions, Manny Pacquiao. So his name is always going to be there.
He will always be there. He'll be an omnipresent, I guess, for Filipino boxers wherever they go. So let me ask you about the Senator Manny Pacquiao, because you are the president of MP Promotions, and Senator Pacquiao has already said in public how much he trusts you. What is the latest on the possible comeback of our pride, Manny Pacquiao? What's happening with the Conor Benn fight? What's happening with possibly Ryan Garcia, or whatever is out there for the senator?
Right now, there's been a lot of inquiries throughout the Middle East. There's Saudi Arabia, there's been Dubai, Japan. He has something coming up. Indonesia. So at the present moment, he's doing what he's always done, playing basketball, staying in shape, and I believe he's looking for something. He still feels he has a lot left to give in the sport. So, he's retired at the moment, but if the right opportunity comes up, I think you'll see him back in the ring. And it would be great, because I have so many people, especially throughout the Middle East, where there's over 2 million foreign workers that would love a chance for Manny to come there. If he fought, the people from the Philippines could travel to the Middle East. So I think, hopefully we put out some feelers, and we've talked to some people over there and brought up some potential matches. And if they like it, Manny will be back. And if they don't, well, we'll just every day in boxing is great. Something new. You never know what's going to happen.
So let me ask you, if you put particular categories, is it likely, is it probable, is it possible, or is it uncertain? Where do you think lies the fate of the fighting, of continuing the fighting career of Manny Pacquiao?
Well, I can say he's definitely going to continue fighting. Now, is that an exhibition like he did in Korea, exhibition in Japan? I think it's probable that something could happen. All
right. Okay, that's fair enough.
It's very probable, because every day there's talks about different stuff. People inquire. They talk about Manny fighting Ryan Garcia. They talk about him fighting. Manny's ready on his end. Somebody come with the right package, and Manny will be happy to come beat someone up. So
you mentioned about Japan. Of course, there was news that Pacquiao signed with the Rizin Fighting Fed back in Japan, and of course, Floyd Mayweather had that stint there as well in an exhibition match. Do you think that this is still something that the senator, Manny Pacquiao, should be doing, or should he just be actually looking for real fights? Because, how, he's getting of age, plus the fact that he is of course, being set up for a bigger fight. Are you concerned about even injuries at this moment for the senator?
No. If you look at the senator, he's in better shape than some guys in their 20s. I mean, He's taken less punishment than them. Throughout his career, he's always taken care of himself. If you watch his diet, it's phenomenal. I mean, I've never seen a guy eat a candy bar. I've never seen him eat any chocolate. His meals are rice and fish and traditional Filipino dishes. And I think that has a lot to do with the longevity of, of Manny Pacquiao, is his lifestyle. Guy plays basketball 2-3 times a week. He plays chess, keeps his mind sharp. So age is a number when you talk about Manny. I mean, Bernard Hopkins did it till he's like 49. George Foreman. There's been fighters that have shown that in their 40s, just because you're 44 doesn't mean you're 44 on paper like you're some old guy. So Manny's lifestyle has definitely given him a lot more longevity than a lot of people.
Right. Well, he's now taking on a award, so to speak, an internet star, a vlogger, Vladimir Grant. And obviously, that was big news a couple of days ago. Oh, what is your take on this? Where does this put Manny's future, and of course, what is he trying to achieve here?
I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to achieve, but I think it helps, because if he's going to train a guy, then he's going to show the guy by example. Because this gentleman you're talking about, Vladimir, I was in the gym with him in General Santos, and he worked out along with Manny when Manny was getting ready for his fight with DKU. And Manny outworked the guy like the guy. If you go 1 out of 10, the guy was like a 4. Manny was a 10.5. But it motivates Manny, gives him something to do. Manny needs things to do. He's not a guy to sit around and idle. He's not a guy to watch TV. He's not a guy to sit and overly read books. He loves chess. He loves basketball, and he loves working out. Those are his passions. So I think with this just gets him in the gym, keeps him invigorated around boxing. And I think it's a good thing. It's a good all the way around for everybody.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to what will happen to Vladimir, and of course, a lot of young boxers, Pinoy boxers, are hoping that they can also follow the path and be trained by no other than a legend like Manny Pacquiao. Before I leave the senator, we know also that there was news about his case with or against Paradigm Sports, and the decision came out in so far as that is concerned. What is the latest there, Sean? Has that been appealed? Has that been settled? How is that affecting the senator?
Yeah, there was still ongoing stuff with that case, so it's not on appeal. But there was a few things that they were waiting for the actual trial, the whole thing to end. That the judge has 60 days to rule on some other motions. So sometime in August, the judge will rule on some other things in the case. And I think at that time, Manny's going to come out very well. There was legally, there's steps that have to be taken, and things go in a certain way. And I think at the end of the day, it'll be proven that Manny did what he was supposed to per all those agreements when the judge reviews some things that'll be ruled on later in August.
All right. Let's talk about some of the other guys. And many of the Filipinos that are, about to fight are there in the U.S. and looking forward to, moving on with their career. And let me begin with the biggest name, of course, Yumir Marshall. What is happening, after his big win a few months ago in February, I believe, is he still on track, not only with his pro career, but with Paris? What's going on there?
Well, his pro career, after that fight in February, he had some old hand injuries, some things that need to be cleaned up. So he had the surgery. He's got a clean bill of health to come back and start boxing. He arrived here in the U.S. on June the 10th, and he's starting to, get into shape. And we're looking at doing something very good for him, a nice solid 8-round fight in August, and then move into a 10-rounder against someone probably rated in the top 15, so Yumir can get a ranking himself. So the idea is to have 2 fights this year, 2 good fights, and hopefully win both, get a minor title, get in the rankings, and look at 2024 as a point sometime in 2024 to fight for the world title.
All right. So, and that doesn't, of course, preclude his training for the Olympics or even to qualify for the Olympics. We know that the Asian Games will be the qualifiers for the Paris Olympics. Would you know what is the mindset right now of Yumir, and how are you advising him on this, Sean?
Well, we had this discussion the other day. The mindset really simple. Just start preparing to fight in August for your professional fight, and then we'll see how you feel, how everything happens, how that comes out. The door's open. The door's open. We gotta wait. We gotta wait and see. If he fights in August, God forbid he got cut or something happened, whatever, then it's out. But if he comes out comfortably winning, it's possible. But the main thing he brought up to me is they took his weight category out of the Olympics. There's no longer, I think it was 69 kilo. So now you're basically going from where he fought at 165, I think up to 180, 185 or something. It's like, that's a huge problem. To me, that's the biggest problem. The problem is not competing or going to the Asian games. It's like, how do you take a guy's weight division? Now you go from 156, and it used to be 165. Now those guys are fighting at 65. If they can't get to 56, now they're fighting at a weight division that is totally not
too heavy.
Yeah. So to me, that's my biggest concern, because what's fair to Ymir? Now I have to go up and fight guys that were cruiserweight coming down to light heavyweight. They're forcing him to fight at light heavyweight. He's a middleweight. He's 160 pounds. He's not 100 and he's 170, maybe 77. So to me, that was the biggest problem. I was kind of excited, but we'll talk about it. We'll see where he's at. We'll get with the strength and conditioning guys. We'll get a feel, because when he fights that professional fight in late August, he's going to be at 160 pounds. Now, now all of a sudden, 21 days or 30 days later, he's got to be at 177, which there's no problem, because that's what he walks around at.
Right.
But we really got to look into it now and get a feeling for this to see what the situation is.
Well, a lot of people.
But the door is open. The door is open right now.
A lot of people will be paying attention to that particular decision, because obviously Ymir is one of the best and brightest medal hopefuls in Paris. Let me ask you about Mark Magsayo. Sean, Mark Magsayo, of course, lost his last fight to who's this guy? Figueroa.
Yes.
After winning against Vargas, of course. The news is he's moving up in weight. What is the latest on Magnifico, Mark Magsayo?
Yes, well, first of all, we'd like to throw a shout out. Happy birthday, United States, today, June 22nd. Happy birthday yesterday, Philippines. Mark, I think Mark turned 28 today, 28 years young. Doing unbelievable. He's now a resident of the United States. Mark, his wife, his son, they bought a home from the last fight. So I'm so proud when people are able to change their lives through boxing, and I give them the vehicle to do it, and they get the job done. And again, a lot like Jerwin, we stayed at a weight a little too long, but we had to take that opportunity against Figueroa. The payday was too good, the opportunity, but 126, really drained Mark, and moving to 130, he's going to feel amazing. So next fight, we're looking at September, October, some kind of, solid fight to put him in position to fight for a world title early next year.
All right. Jerwin Oncajas is going to be fighting this particular weekend. He's fighting a guy named Soto, Wilner Soto, in an 8-round fight, the bantamweight fight in the same card, as you said, as Fernando Montiel, the same guy who beat him. What is the outlook for Jerwin Oncajas? What are your plans for him? And how is his mood?
You know what? Life is kind of funny. You don't predict things. It's so weird that he could have fought any time, any month, whatever. But it just so happened that life came full circle. Here he is, back with Martinez. Thank God we're not fighting Martinez. We'll leave that up to Jade. But at 118, now he's going to fight this fight at 121, 22. He feels like Superman. I mean, he looks like a normal person. When he got to 15, he looked like Skeletor. So he feels great mentally, physically. Everything's where it needs to be. And if he wins this fight, he'll be fighting in Japan for the WBA world title in November or December. So it's a very important fight for him this weekend. I mean, Wilner Soto is not, he's not a world beater. He's not a top contender, but you got to be careful. You can't lose focus of anything. You got to go in and fight like, you're fighting to lose everything. So, this would be great. He wins this. The weight at 118 absolutely suits him beautifully. And we'll be on our way to fight Inoue's brother in November, December for the world title.
That is exciting news, and everybody will be eyes on. In fact, I will have a few guys also. I think later on we will be discussing also that fight with Mr. Homer Sison, who will be also covering that fight in the venue. All right, let's talk to Jonas Sultan. He lost to Paul Butler after winning a big one against Carvalho. How is Jonas? Is he still in line for a title fight?
You know, Jonas right now is in tremendous shape. He works out every day. He helped Jade Bornea prepare for this world title, sparring with him. He helps Jerwin. He lives at the compound here we have with the rest of the guys. We just need to find him a fight. We need to get him a fight, a decent fight. Someone that he could possibly upset or get a win and just kind of work his way back up there. You know, he's in that real rebuilding, even though, you know, he's a veteran, but he needs to have a signature win again to put him back into the world title contention.
All right. And of course, Marlon Tapales is a mandatory challenger in the Beltran Inoue fight. How is his shape, and is that something that is going to come up within the year, you think?
Yeah, Marlon is sitting in a tremendous position. Marlon is going to be ringside in Japan July 25 when Inoue fights Fulton. And there's basically an agreement to unify. It's never been done at 122 pounds. Fulton is the IBF WBO champion. Inoue, of course, is challenging his first time at 22. Marlon is WBA IBF. So the winner of July 25th, Marlon will defend his two belts, including the Ring Magazine belt, to unify all of those. So Marlon's in great position. And whoever wins, Inoue or Fulton, it's a tremendous opportunity for Marlon to fight for all four belts, which I don't think in the history of the Philippines, any Filipino fighter has ever fought for every single belt.
And that should be a big mega buck fight, big payday for Marlon, and he deserves it. Certainly, of course. Again, the honor of the country.
He punched his ticket. He punched his own lottery ticket.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about all of these boxers, and you've talked about Astrolabio, you've talked about many other fighters. Of course, Nonito Donaire is still going to be fighting this year. Donnie Nietes is still over there. But among the young guys, the young and up-and-coming fighters that we have, who do you think is the biggest prospect for a world title right now? Well, including when you talk about our Olympians, Carlo Paalam and even Charlie Suarez.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple before the prospects. There's still Raymart Gaballo. He's number one in the WBO. I believe he's a can't miss world champion. You know, he was a world champion at one time in interim. He had that fight with Donaire that was going very well. Got caught with a body shot and stopped. But he's worked his way back into the WBO's number one contender to fight Jason Maloney. I really love Raymart. I think he's tremendous. So I think he's going to be a world champion at some point early next year. Charlie Suarez is an older guy, but tremendous experience from the amateurs. Has put himself in a good position right now. 130. I believe he's going to fight in July, possibly on a top-ranked show. And if he wins that, he'll keep working along. Guy I have real high hopes for, Carl James Martin. Carl Martin.
All right.
Carl Martin's right there. Yeah, because he's 122 pounds. Carl just needs to keep winning. And then after Inoue and Fulton and Tapales and all that stuff shakes out, he's going to be sitting in world title contention. So what I'd love to see for Carl is to get to the United States and get some proper training, in the U.S., some different looks and different sparring. Now, when you talk prospect, I believe the best prospects in the Philippines, best kids coming up, is a kid named Leonard Sercon. Tremendous. They call him the Filipino Lomachenko. He's the Matrix. The kid is 5'8", 118, 122 pounds. Only had 11 fights. And he's got a great story. It's a great story, bad story. I think his mother abandoned him when he was 10. He was on the streets. He had a really, really hard upbringing. But the kid is disciplined. I have him right now working out with Mike Plania in General Santos before he'll come to the U.S. next month. But I really love this kid, his work ethic, what he wants. He's hungry to really, really achieve things. So I love that kid. I think couple years, you'll be hearing a lot about him. He's a lot like Manny to me.
Wow,
Footwork. Yeah, he has a lot of Manny in him. Footwork, not as big as power right now, but when it comes to angles and moving and stuff, he's got that Manny footwork, and that's a big plus to be compared to that.
That's a huge one. That's a huge one indeed. Well,
and then one other guy, one other kid, Christian Lorante. There was two other guys, Christian Lorante and Kenneth Lover. Those are the guys, when I look at Philippine prospects, that's the next generation a couple years from now to really make some statements. So that's what keeps me excited. More kids coming, helping all these guys right now. And when guys lose, not the end of the world. Look at Asher Labia, just lost for the world title, and I was able to secure a WBC world title eliminator. He wins that. He fights the winner of Donaire in Santiago. Raymar Caballo lost. He made it back. Jerwin and Cajas had a horrible 2 losses. My fault. I take full blame. I picked Fernando Martinez. Jerwin wasn't at 100%. Sometimes you don't see it in the moment. These things happen. But I don't give up. Right away, I went back to maneuvering, to working, horse trading a little, and bam, 1 win, and the guy's fighting for a weight that he should be at, a WBA world title. And that's what I feel. I feel like all these guys, if I make a mistake and I cost you a fight, I feel I cost Sherwin that fight. He didn't lose it. The things that happened to him and everything. So I got to make it right by him, Mark Mixayo. I don't give up, man.
And that's why. And that's why. Yan po ang ating panayam kay Sean Gibbons, mga kapatid. No? Again, presidente ng NP Promotions. Sa lahat po ng mga boksingerong inaalagaan niya at tinutulungan, of course, ni Senador Manny Pacquiao. Actually, at the end of that interview, again, Sean acknowledged na lahat po ito ay dahil sa kagustuhan ni Senador Manny Pacquiao na matulungan ang ating mga Filipino boxers. If you wanna watch the entire, konti na lamang po naman ang aming hindi napakita dyan. Pero kung gusto niyo po muling mapanood ang buong panayam kay Sean Gibbons, you can watch it on our Facebook page. Alright mga kapatid, before we take a break, silipin muna natin po ang ating mga viral videos at pop culture sa mundo ng palakasan sa Stop and Pop.
Power and Play with Com Noli Iyala.
Ang title ng video ngayong linggo pong ito, o ngayong Sabadong ito mga kapatid, ay Super Baby! Panoorin niyo po ito. Maganda to. Magkahalong kaba at pagka-amaze ang nararamdaman dito sa video na ito. Paano ba naman? Yung bata, pambihira, tinan nyo. Nakahawak sa barbell. Ang hawak nung sanggol. Siguro ito mga 6 months pa lang ito eh. Napakalakas na kapit sa barbell. Hindi na yata tayo magtataka kung magiging powerlifter o gym buff itong batang ito sa mga hinaharap na panahon. At yan din po, of course, ang ating Stop and Pop. Sa ating pagbabalik, ang ating po mga kasama, ang 6-meter man, ang pinagmamalaki nating EJ Obiena sa Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go, at ng True Religion.
I dare to dream big, to be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai Stories on Twitter and share yours with Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
umapaw sa real chicken juice na swak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
May gusto ka bang i-share sa programang Sana Lord? Mga kwentong kakaiba at kapupulutan ng aral. Ipadala lamang yan sa aming email address, sanalord@radio5.gmail.com. Maaari rin kayong sumali sa aming Facebook community page. I-type lang sa search box, Sana Lord sa Radyo 5 True FM. Official kwentuhan, Sana Lord. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 11 ng umaga hanggang 1:00 ng hapon. Sana kwento mo na ang susunod na babasahin ni Lord De Vera. Sana Lord sa Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
True Hit List. Nag-hit sa charts. Nag-hit din sa hearts. True Hit List. Pinagsama-sama ang mga kantang tumama sa puso mo. Tuwing linggo, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang alas 2 ng hapon. True Hit List. Tinamaan ka ba sa kanya o sa kanta? Sa 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
May namiss ka bang mga shoot, pasa at hiyawan? Ngayon, hindi na! Dahil araw-araw mo nang mapapanood ang mga paborito mong sports program sa TV. Watch us on these channels. Free TV Channel 41, Signal TV Channel 6, Sky Cable Channel 59. One Sports! Ito ang go-to tambayan for your favorite sports programs. Dito ka na sa paboritong tambayan mo pagdating sa sports.
25,000 watts ng totoong tunog ng FM radio. Totoong pinalakas, totoong pinagtibay ng mga batikang mamamahaya sa paghahatid ng news, public service, entertainment, music, information at inspiration para sa bawat kapatid, bawat Pilipino. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play with Com Noli Iyala.
Muli po nagbabalik ang Power and Play mula sa Asea Beach Resort dito po sa Subic. Again, binabati po natin ang isang magandang umaga. Lahat po ng ating mga suki sa Radyo 5, 92.3 True FM. Dito na tayo sa totoo. And of course, lahat po ng mga nanonood sa 1PH on Signal TV. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Lalong-lalo na ang aking pinsan, si June Ayala dyan sa Los Baños, Laguna, na nagsasapit ng birthday niya ngayong araw pong ito. Happy birthday, Insan! Paano naman ako? Alright, at this point mga kapatid, gusto ko lang pong magpasalamat muli sa lahat ng mga tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play over the years. At next week, 6 years na po ang Power and Play. Simulan ko po of course sa ating mga kaibigan sa Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bago ang panahon mga kapatid, sobrang init tapos biglang uulan. Kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum. Kapag may aluminum, tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong kalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom, tibay protektado sa pang matagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro, how neat it is to have a 7-seater SUV that has a powerful engine, world-class safety standards, and the latest tech features. Bet you didn't know that the all-new Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro has all these features and more at a very affordable price range. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro is equipped with a 1.6 turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, an advanced driver assistance system, and 12 other safety features including rear cross traffic assist, blind spot detection, autonomous emergency braking. The flagship Tiggo 8 Pro allows you more control of the wheel. What's great is you can also join the green revolution with Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or PHEV. So book a test drive now via www.cherryauto.ph or visit a Cherry dealership near you. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Subukan ng kanilang pinakabagong oven-roasted chicken na mas pinasarap dahil sa nag-uumapaw na flavorful chicken juice. Subukan din ang kanilang mga variants, harissa roast, sweet roast, at pepper roast. Subukan ng Chooks, the first dine-in restaurant ng Chooks to Go. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. True Religion is in the Philippines, where passion meets power. Experience it firsthand. For your best style choices, visit True Religion at Conrad S. Maison Mall of Asia Complex, Resorts World Manila, and the Hacienda Designer Outlet in Silang, Cavite. Visit their newest branch at Grand Wing, Newport City, Resorts World Manila. True Religion, where passion meets power. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Mga kasundo, first booking nyo, use the promo code JRMC Taxi para makakuha ng 50% off on your first MC Taxi ride. Book a Joyride MC Taxi for safe, affordable, quality, and fast rides. Ano pang hinihintay nyo? Download the JR Super App on Google Play Store and the App Store. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Elms Seafood Paluto, the latest offering of the Elms Resto Bar Group. Located at Unit 2, ground floor, Calle Bistro, Ever Commonwealth, Quezon City. Enjoy their delectable seafood menu in a relaxed, casual dining atmosphere for your salo-salo seafood meal. Elms Seafood Paluto. Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Alabang Town Center and Green Hills, San Juan. For your skin assessment and treatment schedule, please call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886. ASEA Subic Beach Resort. Experience the getaway that you deserve and dive into limitless happenings, rejuvenating experiences, and gastronomic adventures. ASEA Subic Beach Resort. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat ng mga tagapagtaguyod and of course mga kaibigan ng Power and Play. At this point mga kapatid, ating pong gusto nang ipasok ang ating naging pag-uusap sa isa sa mga bayani ng Philippine sports ngayon. Kamakailan siya po ay nakasama na dun sa elite at elusive 6-meter club sa pole vault sa kanyang pong gold medal winning performance sa Norway. Nakapanayan po natin walang iba kung hindi ang ating pinagmamalaking world rank number 3 pole vaulter, si EJ Obiena. EJ, congratulations, Mr. 6-meter man. And of course, sa bagong record, personal, national, and Asian record. Congratulations, EJ.
Thank you. Thank you very much po.
Alam mo, I want to ask you, obviously you've answered so much about what you did in the Virgin Jump Challenge, no, in Norway. But I want to ask you first, when you woke up that morning, did you have a feeling that this would be the day?
No, not really. Not really. It was just a regular day. I just woke up. I did what I need to do. You know, nothing crazy, nothing special. It was, you know, it's a competition. That's pretty much it.
Wala kang ginawang kakaiba, different routine in that morning. Nothing.
Same old routine.
Oh, well, obviously it was a spectacular performance in front of a beautiful crowd. We saw the clips, of course, of your 6-meter jump. First attempt and immediately a clearance of the bar. What were the emotions that were going through you? Describe it to us, EJ. When you got over the bar and you fell on the mat and you raised your hands, anong tumatakbo sa isipan mo?
So I think it's iba-iba eh. So nung una po, pagbagsak ko po, the first thing that was in my mind was like, okay, I'm leading the competition. Finally, I'm on the lead. They need to make 6 meters and the next bar for them to take the win. Then after that was just like, okay, yes, finally. And then I just realized, oh wait, I just jumped 6 meters. I'm like, whoa, I just made it. And that was, of course, another milestone that I always wanted to promise you guys. I said, I do believe that I can do it. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. Very happy, and I just come sprinting to Vitaly right after that.
I want to ask you about that because we saw that yung yakap ninyo, the embrace, and of course, there were some words exchanged. What did you tell Vitaly, Coach Vitaly? What did he tell you specifically?
At that time, first thing I said was just thank you. I thank you. That's pretty much the first words that came out of my mouth because I knew it. He wanted me to jump 6 meters, and he's been working. We've been working for almost 9 years. 9 years now. So this has not just my effort, also his, even more his. So it's been a crazy journey, and finally be able to jump 6 meters as a pole vaulter. It's a big milestone, not just for me but also for him. Do
you remember what he said to you when you said thank you?
Well, he's just like tapping my back because I just started tearing up, and then when I kind of recollected myself, I was putting my weight on my leg, and I was like breathing. He just asked me, "Are you gonna jump or you're done?" Like he was still, yeah. So if that doesn't show what kind of coach Ridley is, he definitely is not your average Joe.
All business, and obviously he knows that you can still jump higher. And that's why immediately the challenge was put up. When you talk about that moment, that day, that precise time that you cleared the bar, you ran that track and you cleared the bar. What do you think were the key factors that made it a record performance? The wind. What was it? The track, the pole. What do you think was really the key elements of that magical moment?
Outside of my control, I would say it was the conditions of the field itself, and the wind was actually pretty calm, and it was blowing through our back. So it makes it easier for us to do what we need to do. But what I believe was we moved 2 steps back than last year, so I have more speed. I'm on a bigger pole, and the whole day the struggle was hitting my marks. Pretty much be consistent in the run, and it just so happened the 94 jump was the best one, I would say, in the run. And then there I knew it. If I repeat this, I should be able to get on a 6-meter jump. So I had an idea, the numbers just add up, and I hit that 6-meter jump decently. It was not the best run that I had on the day, but good enough for me to finish the jump, and that's pretty much what I believe happened. And analyze, it was not anything it wasn't a perfect jump. Let's just put it that way.
You mentioned in one of your interviews about this 20-step technique that you use, I guess, to warm up and to prepare. Was that part of it? Nagamit mo ba doon, EJ?
Yeah, for sure. The reason we decided to move because I accelerate very slow, and I needed more speed. I needed more time to get into the takeoff to have the optimal speed. I mean, technically, the longer the run, if you are fast enough, you should be able to take off and build faster speed or higher speed.
Momentum.
Exactly, momentum po. So that's but of course, in any sport, you need to learn it. You need to learn the rhythm,
right?
How to distribute your run, and that was my struggles pretty much the whole day that day. Even on the other competition, I'm still learning how to get this run dialed in.
Right. So it's really getting used to that. But obviously, you've done it once, and I guess now you understand and you believe more so that it can be done, and because you've done it. But here's the thing: now that you've cleared 6 meters, EJ, how does that more or less impact, even change your mindset when you compete? I'll give you maybe to just expound the question a little more. Do you have more confidence now, or can frustration set in more if you do not hit that because you can hit 6 meters? Do your peers have more respect for you, or is there more pressure on you to deliver? What do you think?
I think my peers definitely respects me a little bit more. I got congratulations for a lot of guys, and I mean, Sam Kendricks was the first one to say welcome to the club, and it's like, it's nice to be part of this club. It's been a dream, and it's one of those dreams that you don't even know if it's actually going to happen. And there's multiple, Olympic champions that have not jumped over 6 meters. So it's such an elite group. So I'm very proud and very happy about that. But the way I approach competition doesn't really change, because the way I approach it, even if I'm a 590, a 6 meter guy, or even a 620 guy, it's the same. I want to go in and win. Maybe there's more potential. I'd maybe believe myself a little bit more, but it's not. It's not to a point that it would affect me. Is there more pressure? Personally, I enjoy that in a way. Billy King have said it the best. Pressure is privilege. So I don't see it affecting me negatively. Some people definitely expect that I jump 6 meters every day, but all the workers understand that. It's only maybe Mondo could do that 90% of the time. Not even. And it's such an elite level of pole vaulting that, of course, if conditions allow me, at least now I know mentally I've already jumped this. It's not here anymore. But other than that, there's not really sorry about that. There's not really much difference.
So you think that if you don't reach that height, the frustration will not be greater than it has been when you don't, when you don't reach certain heights that you have been jumping in the past?
I think my frustration would not come about the height. It would be if I was not able to compete in the way that I can. Let's say it doesn't matter if I jump 6 meters or not. If I win, it's a win.
Right.
And that for me is more important than the height. So if, let's say, we go to a world championship and I was able to give everything that I've got, and I know that I was able to compete at the best of my ability, there's nothing really to be frustrated about. I would be sad, of course, if I don't accomplish what I need to accomplish.
Right.
But what else is there for me to do if I was able to do everything that I can on that day? So
actually, you've been very consistent with that in all our discussions, in all our talks. You've always said that it's never the height. The height will vary. Even the winning height will vary. It really depends on so many other factors, but more importantly, it's really the effort that you give. And it's good to hear that, because I want to ask you. It's like an analogy to a golf handicap, for instance. Weekend golfers have their own handicaps, and sometimes you don't reach it, sometimes you do reach it, sometimes you're below your handicap. So what is now your floor? Meaning, what is the minimum that you think you'll judge yourself for a successful competition? And has your ceiling also increased with this performance, EJ?
I think my ceiling definitely increased. The way we analyzed that 6-meter jump and the errors that I've done, it's definitely a lot of room for improvement, which
That's
is a very, it's a very positive thing. But at the same time, it just shows, okay, jumping 580, 590 should be a regular thing. It shouldn't be, a good condition. Even in a bad condition, I should be able to jump 580. Now I think I arrived to 6 meters because I was very consistent at a 580, 80, 90 range. Therefore, I was able to jump 6 meters. If I'd be consistent at 590, 95 range, then, higher heights would tend to come. It's just simple, arithmetic. It just makes sense.
How do you maintain the consistency then, EJ? What do you think is the key to maintaining your consistency?
I need to be consistent with my 20 step. That's the first thing. It's
20, all right.
It's still a work in progress. I've used it now in competition only 3 times. So I've competed with it only 3 times. So it's it's a baby. It's still a baby.
And is that unique to you? Is that unique to you? I mean, the other competitors?
There's a few people that do 20 step, but I think there's more people doing 16 and 18 steps. 20 step, I think it's me, Mondo. I believe there's a Norwegian guy that has done it. There's not a lot, but the thing is, it depends. It doesn't fit to everyone, because some people are able to accelerate and some people cannot maintain the speed. Some people are, fitness wise, they're not maybe ready to do the 20 steps. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm going to be honest, because every training I'm exhausted, and I only take. Okay, I can't say how many jumps I take, so people.
Well, that's part of the training. But the reason I asked that, if we can expect a higher ceiling, is because recently, of course, 3 days after you hit the 6-meter mark, you competed in another competition in the Oslo Bislett Games, and you reached 5.81. Of course, after that, you tried 6.01 and did not complete it. Are we going to see you consistently going for greater heights, for higher levels? Okay.
100%. The goal is now to repeat it. Repeat it means jumping at least 6 meters or higher. I do believe I'm capable of doing that, not even in a perfect condition. It's just a matter of getting it right. I have 3 attempts to get it right in each height. So I need to get it right in those 3 attempts.
All right.
Yeah, it might seem like there's a lot, but in pole vault, 3 attempts is not much. There's so many variables playing in the role. Hitting it right doesn't mean hitting it perfect, but it's a work in progress. I do believe I'm on a good path, so it's just a matter of time, I believe.
Well, we've seen the trajectory, and everybody likes it, obviously. And you have been very successful in how you've planned your build-up. And let's talk about the build-up. You have some big events coming up, aside from, of course, from the fact that you're still deep in the Diamond League and circuit. There's the Asian Athletics Championship coming up in July. There's the World Athletics coming up in August, and of course the Asian Games in September. I guess the first question is, are you planning to go on all of these as part of your pathway to Paris, or is there another pathway that you have chosen?
My pathway to Paris, the most straightforward, the way I would want it to go is to qualify straight up. So qualification by standard starts on July 1, and I already competed the second day of July in Stockholm in a Diamond League meet. If I jump over 582, if I'm not mistaken, then I should be already qualified for Paris. I am indeed planning to go to these championships, because these championships would give me points for my ranking, and also these are very important for the country. These are the medals that that at the end of my career would be the ones probably standing out. So I'm definitely gunning for it.
In other words, it would be nice for you to qualify directly, and so you don't have the pressure of having to use, because I know these events are also qualifications for Paris, but at least you don't have that pressure, because obviously there will be certain concerns, and health-wise, injury-wise, that's obviously something that we're trying to avoid. So when you look at this, assuming that, as you said, you hit the standards, are you putting a priority list? Which one you can skip, which one you can't, and whether, or that you're just ready to go and push yourself and be as busy as you have been the last few months?
Well, of course, as you said, I need to be smart about it. I need to stay healthy, and the biggest event is still the Olympics. So if I have already qualified, then it would make it easier for me to decide on things. I would not want to miss these competitions, the Asian Championship, the World Championship, and the Asian Games. We have planned the season for me to end my season in the Asian Games. So that means I am supposed to do this. It's like we're supposed to make it. But of course, hopefully, knock on wood, nothing happens. And then it should be fine. But when it comes to, am I choosing to skip a competition because I know it's a health risk, I'll do it, because if I already qualified, the reason why I'm here after Tokyo, as I said, Paris. So I'm not gonna trade. It's probably gonna be a hard thing for me to do. That's why I'm doing everything that I can to be healthy, as strong as I could be at the end of the season. But if push comes to shove, of course, I'll need to decide on a logical approach and not let my emotion kind of dwindle and mix it up for me. So fingers crossed that it would not be happening, or I would not be put in that position. I'm doing my best to compete at each championship. That's very important for me and the country.
Besides health, is there any other concern right now in your mind, EJ?
At this time, I'm good. I think I've found the thing that my psychologist has been looking for. She's been telling me that fire in me. It took a while. I did feel exhausted and it did feel tired. Probably the worst thing that happened was I was given a perspective of another life when I had that issue last year. So it was it's harder, but at the same time I found my why, or my reason in the whole of it, and I do enjoy what I do now, and I am very curious on the things that I could achieve, because as I said, that 6-meter jump was not perfect, and that definitely fuels my curiosity on what can I actually achieve on a good day, in a perfect condition, the perfect run, the perfect jump. What exactly can EJ jump?
Well, that's interesting. There are 2 points I want to take up on that. First, you said about your problems last year. Let me ask you a little bit about that. Are all of your problems solved now? Is everything ironed out? Malinis na ba? Natatanggap na ba ni Coach Vitaly ang ganang kanya, EJ? How are you?
He's been paid for the first quarter of the year, so we're waiting for the next quarter of the year. That's actually one of your ideas, to release funding quarterly. So I am hoping before we fly to Asian Championship, he's going to be paid for the next quarter of the year. So far, everything's okay. Sir Terry Capistrano has been nothing but amazing. He's been making sure that things are adjusted. It's a lot of different changes that he has done, and it simplifies a lot of things, and that's all I ask. And so far, I'm okay. It's things are not, but things are definitely much better.
Good to hear. Now let me go to the second point of that statement that you had about curiosity. Surpassing the 6-meter mark or reaching that mark was a curiosity for you. Now that you've gotten there, what is it now that's fueling you? Beyond the curiosity, what have you discovered and what else do you want to discover?
I know we've talked about this. It's just, certain things I cannot just announce, but we have a number that I believe is doable for me within the year. And that in itself, the chase to that number is actually pretty interesting. It fuels you because knowing it, adding everything up, it just makes sense that I would supposed to be there. And other than that, it's the year before Olympics. If I want to try something out, something new, some experiment on things, it's going to be this year, because I'm not going to be doing that next year. Next year is the year to be as consistent as I could be. So,
right.
It's a bit of mix of those, and of course, it's you probably know this. When you love the things that you do, the passion that you put into it is priceless. Like nobody can pay me to be at the track and put everything that I have, put my heart out, and just kill myself to achieve this perfection. It's truly is an amazing thing, and I'm truly blessed that I'm able to do something that I truly am in love with. Like I love it. I enjoy the challenge that it brings, and I enjoy the pleasures when we achieve greater heights. And
that's the fuel to fuel to greatness. That's the fuel to greatness, EJ. Before I ask you my final question, a lot of people obviously watch your clips and want to see EJ Obiena in the flesh, actually, performing before a local crowd, a Filipino crowd. We had plans in the past. I know that you wanted to stage a special tournament in the Philippines together with the Philippine Olympic Committee and, of course, the Philippine Sports Commission. What has happened to those plans, EJ? Is there any movement? Is there any development on that side?
There's definitely movement. We already have a day that we want it to happen. It's September 20th.
Wow.
If it happens later or earlier, it's not. It would not mix the calendar of athletics. The thing is, because of the day, the shipment of the things that we need from Europe is a little bit tighter, and it's there's some hiccups, there's some problems. As I said, the only way that this is going to happen is someone, of course, would help me facilitate it, because my number one job is to train and represent the Philippines, not to hold competition in the country. And helping me out, and I'm very appreciative. There's a lot of things that still needs to be worked on, so I can't 100% promise the Filipino people that there's going to be a pole vault competition, but I can promise you that me and my team, we're working the best that we can to make sure that we bring these world-class athletes to our place, to Manila.
Right now, that is news, and of course, that's great news. Yan po mga kaibigan, si EJ Obiena sa Power and Play again. Sana nga matuloy yung kanyang pinaplanong event dito sa Pilipinas, na makita natin in the flesh ang ating pinagmamalaking si EJ Obiena going up against the best pole vaulters in the world. Sana matupad yan ng PSC under the new leadership, and of course kay POC under Mayor Bambol Tolentino. All right, mga kapatid, before we give you our final set of guests, sumilip muna tayo this week in sports history.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
June 19, 2016, o 7 years ago pa lang, nangyari ang hindi pa nangyayari sa kasaysayan ng NBA, na kumpleto ng Cleveland Cavaliers ang 3-1 comeback kontra sa Golden State Warriors. Tinalo ng Cavs ang Warriors sa Game 7, 93-89 para sa pinakaunang title ng Cleveland. Malamang tanda pa ng avid viewers ang call ni Mike Breen na blocked by James. Parang sinaksak din ni Kyrie sa puso ang mga Golden State fans sa kanyang game-winning Dagger 3. Cavs come back from 3-1 to claim first franchise title this week in sports history. Talking about comebacks, well, yan po ang ating itatampok sa ating feature, our final feature of the day sa In the Spotlight.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Sa parating na PVL Invitational Conference, may 30 bagong kupunan. Isa dyan, ang nagbabalik na Photon Tornadoes, dating kampiyon sa Philippine Superliga at ngayon naghahangad muli makabalik sa trono ng volleyball. At ngayong araw pong ito, masaya tayong makakasama natin. Walang iba kundi ang ilan sa mga magiging part ng journey na yan para sa Photon Tornadoes. Walang iba kundi si Jazz Nabor, si Seth Rodriguez at si Carly Hernandez. Magandang umaga, ladies!
Hello po, sir.
Yun! Naku, talagang salamat unang-una for joining us. Sanay na kayo dito sa ASEA dahil alam ko kayo ay, of course, alam natin, the ASEA family and ang Photon at Cherry Tigo, pamilyang-pamilya yan. Kaya I'm sure you're very, very familiar with the location. Pero let me ask you muna, Jazz, ano ang pakiramdam ng playing for a new team?
Nakakapanibago lang po kasi syempre puro bago po yung kasama ko ngayon. Pero nakaka-excite din maglaro kasi mas madaming playing time kumbaga and yung pinaghirapan namin sa training, ano yung mailalabas namin this coming PPL.
Medyo matagal-tagal ka ngang nandun sa Cherry Tigo. Of course, marami sa inyo ay nanggaling sa Cherry Tigo. Ang ilan ay napunta na ngayon dito sa Photon Tornado. Sister team, of course, ng Cherry Tigo. Seth, ikaw ang isa dyan. Can you tell us a little bit, paano ka napunta? Ikaw ba nag-try out? Ito ba nilipat ka lang? O ikaw ba na-trade? Ano bang kwento mo, Seth?
Nalipat po yung kaming, anim ba tayo lang? Kaming anim from Cherry po, nalipat kami sa Photon. Na ang sabi po sa amin ni Coach Aaron is, i-grab namin yun as a challenge para sa amin to prove kung ano yung meron kami as a player.
Alright. Well, malaking, of course, opportunity yan para sa lahat naman na laro. And obviously, now being a veteran, that will be a bigger role for you. Carly, ikaw ay nagbabalik as a pro. Of course, you played with Valley Pure at ngayon nagbabalik ka na muli. Meron bang halong ka ba ang pagbabalik mo sa PVL?
Actually, same lang po sa kanila. Very challenging po yung opportunity na dumating. And ayun, wala naman po, chill lang kami kasi actually no pressure naman din sa team. Kasi yun nga po, kakabuo lang din ng team and halos bago po yung mga nakakasama namin. So, ayun, wala po kami ibang gagawin kundi maglaro lang po talaga.
In that sense, maybe sa'yo, Jazz, wala bang expectations sa inyo? Sabi nyo nga, walang pressure. Anong mindset ninyo dito sa knowing na bagong buo itong team? Ano ang kaisipan as you enter the competition?
Yung mindset lang naman po namin palagi is yung maglaro lang talaga. Yun nga sabi ni Carly, no pressure this PVL kasi kakabuo lang po ng team, wala pong ina-expect sa amin kasi ipakita lang namin yung mga kailangan namin ipakita and ayun, i-take lang talaga namin yung opportunity na maibalik yung kumpiyansa na nawala sa mga kagaya ko na nawala dati. So this is the time na maibalik po yung kumpiyansa nung Jasmine nawala.
Pero bagamat walang ang expectations, bagong team ito, of course, everybody knows na magkakaroon pa kayo ng I guess pag-unlad, no? Seth, ano ang mga hamon na nakikita mo ahead of you and the team para maging successful ang kampanya nyo sa PVL?
Siguro po yung challenge na hinaharap namin ngayon is yung kung paano namin bubuin yung chemistry ng saglit lang, parang in a short time of span lang. Na, kasi hindi naman siya agad-agad nabibigay or na bubuuin. Pero paano namin gagawin yun sa darating na PVL? Yun yung pinaka-challenge namin.
Well, napakarami nyo mga bagong players, former crossovers, meron mga dating former Army, si Nene Bautista, at meron mga young guns no, na nanggaling sa UST, JRU, and even the NCAA MVP ng Perpetual Health, si Mary Rose Dapol. So let me ask you, Carly, one of the veterans, of course, ano ang, how can you summarize itong binuo na team ng Photon? What kind of team is this? Ano sa tingin mo ang kalakasan ninyo? Ano sa tingin mo naman ang mga kailangan nyo pang improve?
Actually, nung na-meet ko silang lahat, parang halos lahat ng mga nakasama ko po, talagang sa depensa, magagaling po talagang dumipensa, especially yung mga bata talaga na dumating din. So, siguro yung talagang bubuin lang po namin, yung kailangan namin na ma-improve is yung chemistry na sa loob ng court. Kasi syempre, sobrang iksi lang po ng time na nag-prepare kami. And ayun nga po, next week PBL na. So, ngayon, parang iniisip po namin paano kami mag-gelling agad sa loob, kung paano namin makakapayo yung isa't isa, and hindi kami maiilang. So far, okay naman po kami. Parang ang bilis din naman pong nabuo, and nakikisama naman din po lahat, and willing to help. So, ayun, wala naman pong nagiging problema, and ayun po.
Nabanggit ko nga yung mga bago ninyong players, Jazz. Among the young guns, si Baby Love, of course, si Sydney and everyone else. Who has impressed you the most so far, Jazz? Sino nakaka-impress para sa iyo, Jazz?
Actually, lahat naman po sila eh. Pero alam talaga isa si Bilap talaga yun. Kasi makikita mo sa kanya na sobrang relax lang niya every training. Yung ma-inspire ka talaga na no pressure ka mararamdaman sa bawat kilos na parang sobrang relax lang talaga. And ayun nga, kahit bago lang, nakikipag-communicate talaga siya. Hindi siya natatakot turuan ka or magsalita kahit sino kang tulong sa ulo.
Pagdating, of course, naman sa mga veterano, Seth, no? Nandyan, of course, si Shaya, nandyan yung sabi ko nga, si Nene, si Bern, nandyan din sa team ninyo. What have these veterans, itong mga veteranong ito, been bringing to the team? At sa tingin mo, sino parang magiging tatayong leader nitong team na to maliban sa inyong tatlo?
Feeling ko po si Ate Shaya talaga. Kasi parang every training at saka tune po namin, siya talaga yung nag-recruit sa amin kapag nawawala na lagi nang pinapaalala sa amin na lumaban lang kami, walang suko, mag-usap-usap na, ganun po.
Alright. Well, it's a new team, bagong komperensya. Ano ang pinaka-inaabangan nyo? What are you most looking forward to nakalaban? Kasi dito sa PBL Invitational, grouping din kayo. At ang inyong makakasama sa group, Petrogas, F2, Chocomucho, Signal, and of course, Farm Fish. Napakalalakas ng mga teams din yan. Carly, sino ang pinaka-inaabangan mo and who are you most looking forward to na makalaban?
Actually, siyempre po ako nakakabalik lang din sa PBL ulit. Ako po excited ako makalaban po ulit lahat. Kasi most of them po, before hindi ko sila nakakalaban kasi bracket din po yung bali by groupings din. So, merong team namang hindi ko nakalaban na naka-bracket po namin ngayon. So, ayun po, sobrang excited na lahat sila makalaban.
Kamusta naman ang conditioning ng team? Jazz, kamusta kayo? Do you think na nasa almost 100% na ang conditioning?
Opo. Yung na lang talaga, gelling na lang po. Pero nandun
gelling na lang.
Opo. Nandun na yung namin. Gelling na.
Ano ba ang marching orders ni Ma'am Ada? Ano ba ang marching orders ni Coach ni Brian at saka ni Coach Aaron? Ano ang sinabi sa inyo, paalala sa inyo? Seth siguro.
Sa akin po, ang sabi, pakita namin yung talent namin. Yun lang po yung lagi nilang sinasabi, na ito na yung time namin para mapakita namin kung ano yung meron natin. So, i-grab na namin. Yun po yung lagi nilang pinapaalala.
Alright. And of course, hindi naman pwede na walang goals. Ano yung particular? Anong gusto niyo maabot? At least, how would you call this season a successful season, Carly?
Sa amin po kasi, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, there's no any pressure sa team. So, gusto lang namin na lumaban kami every game. Na sayang naman din po yung mga pinag-trainingan namin kung hindi namin ilalabas sa game. So, one thing is for sure, nalalaban po talaga. Ilalaban po namin siya kahit sino po yung makatapat namin.
Well, malapit na nga ang laban ng PBL. So, I guess as a parting shot, ladies, mensahe ninyo sa mga fans ng Photon Tornadoes. Kayo ay nagbabalik after a 3-year absence. And of course, bago ko tanungin pala yan, Kamusta ang relationship niyo with Cherry Tigo? Kasi syempre marami din nagtatanong dyan dahil kayo galing doon yung iba sa inyo, no? Kayo dalawa, Jazz at saka Seth. Pagka kayo ba nagtapat, ito ba personalan ba ito, Jazz?
Siguro po, may pakiramdam na competitive ka sa kaharap mo, lalo na kung Cherry.
Ikaw, Seth.
Sa akin po, enjoy lang po, ganun. Parang feeling ko nakikipag-scrimmage lang ako sa kanila, ganun po.
Pero I'm sure ang utos ng management, upakan. Walang sister teams, ladies? Alright. Before like I said, before I let you go, mensahe ninyo after 3 rounds, nagbabalik ang Tornadoes. I'll begin with you, Carly, para sa mga fans ng Photon.
Ayun, so to all the fans po na sumusuporta sa amin, simula po nung nilabas yung team, sana supportahan po nila kami this PBL. We'll make sure na ipapakita po namin yung best namin every game and bibigyan po namin sila ng magandang laban. And sana wag po kayo magsawang supportahan kami hanggang matapos po yung season.
Yes, ang una nyo laban is on June 29, tama ba yun?
Yes, against
Petrogas.
Petrogas.
Petrogas. Alright, Jazz. Ano ang maasahan ng mga fans ng Photon laban sa Petrogas?
Ayun po, ibibigay lang namin yan. Yung best po namin and i-make sure po namin na bibigyan namin sila ng magandang laban and magiging threat din po kami sa ibang team.
Yun! Yan ang gusto na marinig ni Boss Romel. Alright, Seth, I guess your message to the management naman. I mean, nabigyan kayo ng pagkakataon ng ganito. Ano ang mensahe mo para naman sa management and of course coaches ng Photon Tornadoes?
Una po, nagpapasalamat kami sa management kasi ginawa naman nila yung Photon for us to play talaga para mabigyan kami ng playing time. And thankful kami kasi naiisip na nila lagi yung mga players. And sa mga coaches na walang sawa na nagtuturo sa amin na 6 hours silang nagtitraining. Kasi Photon thank you po kasi hindi kayo napapagod at nagsasawang turuan ka.
Well, ladies, inaasahan na ang pagbabalik ng Photon. Excited na maraming fans na nakamiss sa Photon Tornadoes. And of course, abangan yan, lalong-lalo na sa pagbubukas ng PVL Invitational Conference. Thank you so much this morning for joining us. And good luck sa inyo tatlo. Maraming salamat. Mga kaibigan, si Jazz Labor, Seth Rodriguez, and Carly Hernandez, mga manlalaro po ng pagbabalik ng Photon Tornadoes sa PVL. Abangan nyo po opening na June 27 ng PVL Invitational Conference. Dito rin po mapapanood yan sa Signal TV. Alright, bago tayo magtapos, gusto ko lang pong i-announce lahat po ng mga nanalo sa Joyride Super App Top Up promo na mananalo ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits. Si Mr. Rodel Makatangay, Kevin Cornelio, Arvin John Agsalon, Marinel Cortez, at si Lalaine Rebuta. Congratulations sa inyo lahat. Kayo po ay mananalo ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits mula sa Joyride Super App, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Well, marami pong nagpadala ng kanilang mga kuro-kuro tungkol sa ating pinupulsuhan ngayong araw na ito, lalong-lalo na sa Facebook, si Mark Suba. Marami po salamat sa inyo lahat. Ruben Cuadro, I just want to acknowledge all of you. Yung hindi na natin kayang banggitin lahat. Art Castro, si Boss Pentinino, Raymond Fruelda. Marami po salamat pati sa Twitter. Ang dami po nagpadala. Patuloy lang po yung babasahin po namin yan for sure sa aming Facebook page at sa Twitter account. That'll do it for us mula dito sa napakagandang Asea Subic Beach Resort dito po sa Subic Bay. Again, nagpapasalamat kami kay Boss Romel, kay Ma'am Ada at sa lahat ng staff ng Asea for accommodating Power and Play once again. Again, lagi na po natin pinagbibiling tuwing Sabado, bawal ang masungit at sa lahat po ng ating gawain. Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH, teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. Susunod na po ang inay ko po. Happy Sports Weekend mga kapatid! More power, more play.
kapwa ko Pilipino. Ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko. Para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at kung magpatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa Pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Amiga.